So we're getting about ready to start our Simul here with students who were signed up with for the Dragon Slayer tournament yesterday that ended up being postponed. Actually, we have quite a crowd here and some dangerous customers in the list. So should be pretty interesting to see how this goes. We're going to get started in about 3 minutes once we get everybody here. So I've never done a Simul on chess or anywhere else online, so it should be interesting for me as well to see how that works. So what we're going to do is, I'll be talking about some things during the game, but my time will be limited, so probably not saying too much. But then once all the games are over, we can go ahead and do some analysis of the games, and we should be able to have that available for everyone to review at some point. So yeah, I mean, I hope this turns out to be pretty fun for everyone. Yeah, more turnout than I was expecting, but yeah, so there were a couple of choices that we had to make here in the beginning. Is first of all the time control. Initially, I had said game in 30, but I went ahead and added this 15-second increment just so that I don't end up with several games short on time and no increment. At least should help me out from being a little bit too crazy there. And then also this question of, how much extra time to add for the host, which, I chose to add no time. That is to say that I get no extra time compared to the kids in the games. But I can see where that could come in handy since you're filtering through 8 games, and some extra time may come in handy. And then also, usually in a simultaneous exhibition, if you've ever played in those, the host, that would be me in this case, would play white in all the games because after all, they're at the disadvantage of having to play a bunch of games at one time. But I have gone ahead and set the colors as random. So we will see inland chess. Let's see if I can find who inland chess is. I don't know who inland chess is, but that username was not registered for our tournament. So I don't really know who that is. I think I know who I see. Maybe I should message this person and just check in on them, see who they are. Maybe this is John. Check in on this person and see whether they're above board. Okay, that is a real person. Oh, that's a real person. Uh-oh, we're getting really in trouble here. That's a real person. Oh, goodness. That's a real person. 13 players. Okay. Well, I don't know who inland chess is, but what the heck. The more the merrier. Here we go. All right, so let's see how this goes. And now we're just gonna get started. Let's see what happens. So, he gets my best stuff. Yeah, he gets my best stuff. We'll just do some regular stuff there. We'll play our Scholastic Repertoire here, Scholastic Repertoire here. We'll just play some Scholastic Repertoire with James Halliday. He gets my best stuff. And that, and then this will be my best stuff. Oh, this is my Scholastic Repertoire. He gets my best stuff. And JCW 620. I don't know. Scholastic stuff. Amounts. He gets my best stuff. And all right, I think we've decided everything that we need to decide to get started here. I'm going to try to be playing some consistent openings just to get a sense of, afterwards when we're reviewing the game, we'll kind of see how our different players responded to the different openings. So, and knight c6, we're going into the Slav defense. See, what do I like to play against the Slav defense? I like playing this exchange variation these days. Oh, Slav defense again. Exchange variation. We'll see how those guys do. I'm going to play the Roy Lopez when we get a chance. All right, we're going to play our good stuff against Cartoon Pianist. We got some 4 knights coming, I sense. All right, we'll play some 4 knights. Uh-oh. All right, we'll get our best stuff going against JT Schonberger. And, okay, we'll just play in a classical way there. E4, E5, this is the Petrov defense, someone doing something a little different. Oh, we got another 4 knights coming. Fine, play a 4 knights. There we go. Exchange Slav, advanced variation of the Karakan. This is a Bogo Indian or something. I'm going to play the knight out, see if we can secure the bishop pair. Roy Lopez there. Now, this is our other exchange Slav, so we'll see if we can look at those two together. Do I want to play the fried liver attack? Sure. Okay, we'll just play some symmetrical stuff and see how that goes. See this check? Yeah, I don't really like. We can just kick that bishop away. Yeah, we back off of that. Now we're going to transpose maybe into some Ragzin defense. I guess it's not really a transposition. Exactly, it's just... Okay. Well, we're going to ask that bishop what they're up to. We're back off with our bishop here. Our opponent castled, so we will castle as well. Why not? I like where BM Barrett is going. Oh, these two games are identical so far. Okay, I can understand a little bit the point of that move. Knight to f6, we castle. Bishop to d2. All right, so we castle. Knight to c3. We're going to play bishop to c5 again. Uh-oh, knight to c6. Is this bishop hanging? Okay, I'm going to take it. I take 3 pieces. So now what do we do? Do we take with the queen or do we take with the bishop? I'm going to take with the queen. So then we're going to move our b pawn and play the bishop to d7. Castles, sure. I like to castle. b5, well, only move there. d3. Do I want to see a bishop pin here on g4? Not likely. E3. This is actually turning out to be a reasonable position transposed from the Nimzo-Indian defense. Knight to c6. We're going to play bishop to f4. Bishop went back to d6. We're going to play our knight to c4. See about crunching that bishop. Play e6 here. What is our opponent doing against? Oh, we should just develop our bishop to f4. Other knight went to f6. We'll defend our pawn. C4. It's a fine move. d3 again. Do we want to see this bishop appear on g5? No, not really. e5, knight to f3. Cartoon pianist has played knight to f6. So, of course, trying to come into e4. I will play e3. Oh, captured my pawn. I have a feeling there must be something here for us. Is it capturing this knight? Can't spend too much time, of course. Yes, I'm going to capture that knight. Then I'm going to play rook to e1. Castle. Develop our pieces. Bishop has gone there. And now I'm going to defend our pawn. Oh, here we go. JT Schomburger has played. Why that game didn't come up earlier. Castles. Castle here. Oh, knight to h6. Okay. We're just going to castle. No direct refutation of that. Oh, Petrov defense again. Knights jumped in here, but are we forgetting about this pawn on e4? I think so. Knight to f6. Yep, got some very reasonable symmetry going there. We're going to play our pawn to e3. D takes c6, and now bringing our rook to the somewhat open line. We're going to keep developing our pieces, get our king out of there. h3. A6, give our bishop somewhere to run to. Bishop to h6. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll capture that. Why not? Let's see. C6. Okay, here we go. The good stuff. Bishop to e7. All right, we're going to play d5 there. Uh-oh, let's see. Are we running into trouble here? Have queen here. That's supposed to be good for me. Pawn to a6. That's a very acceptable move. Rook to c1. Rook to e1. Let's see. Get our bishop out. d6, castles. Now move the bishop. Now we capture there on c4. Have a feeling that come back this way. PM. All right. Now we're playing our real nice. Oh, knight to g8. Oh, we're winning material there. Okay. Knight to d7. b6. I don't know about b6. We're capturing on d5. d4. Well, let's just take it. d6. Okay. I'm going to ruin the kingside pawns there for a start. Bishop takes c4. Now we capture on d5. Oh, knight to e5. Taking it. h3. All right, this is what I see the kids do, so we'll do that. Okay, we capture the knight. Queen's Indian defense, very good. E takes d5. I think we're getting a lot of pressure on this knight now. Oh, knight captures, I like. e6. So we're just going to play bishop e2. Bishop to b5 is actually the right move. Okay. Knows what he's doing there. Knight takes d4. Yeah, it's probably fine. I'm going to play a6. Went pawn here. Eli mounts. Okay. Oh, d6. Okay, we take a rook. Yeah. Let's see. Are we going to get our queen trapped? Maybe. Bishop to a6. Taking that. 3 pieces. Bishop to d6. We're just going to come back, see what we can do there. Yeah, I really am not sure about this. G takes h6 looks right. We should put some pressure on this knight. I think we're winning a pawn there. Bishop d6, we're up a pawn. Let's develop and get some trading going. Knight to a4. We're just saving our bishop. Rook. Isn't this bishop hanging? This knight is pinned, my friend. We are just capturing that bishop. Yeah, and then bishop to b7. Rook to e1, why not? Bishop takes g3. Okay, so now we have a nice open line for our rook. Our rook is developed. Knight to g4. Oh, capture. Running short of time here. Castles. Castle is very acceptable. We're weakening our position a little bit, but that's all right. Bishop to d2. Okay. Well, what we have going for us in this position is a square here on e5. Well, let's keep our bishop for one thing. Knight c6, develop our pieces. a4, b6. Okay, keep our pin, otherwise our bishop is gone. Yeah, so queen there. Problem with that is we get a little more pressure on that c6. Rook to g8. All right, so our friend is coming to try to kill us here, but we're going to do our best to avoid that. Bishop comes back. Do I want to give him an extra pawn in the center? No, I'll just come back and maybe develop our rook if he captures. Bishop to e2. Put our bishop on b7. That's the plan. Knight to f6. Yeah, so now we get that pawn. Recaptures on c6, of course. Our friend has castled. Now we're going to take on e6. Pawn to b3. Is this a fork on these pieces? I think so. Yeah, we're taking it. Bishop d7. Okay, that makes sense, but we're up a lot of material there. h6. Yes, I can understand that move. I think we're going to leave our king in the center in this game or move it to f1 or something. We're going to play our knight up and then g4, g5, see how that goes. Yeah, bishop to b7 looks pretty regular. We're going to play our queen to b6 to defend our bishop. Trade queens. Oh, we captured on e6. We can take and then castle. Probably not smart. All right, I'm gonna do it. Take and then castle. Break all the rules. C takes D6 makes sense, and we're gonna finish developing our pieces. A3. Yeah, so now what we need to do is, while we love to stick a knight on this square, I'm gonna play queen to E8 so we can put our knight there and then out on the D4, really breaking everything open. I think that after all these trades, we could win a pawn. We're going to trade these pieces and then get our light square bishop out. Uh-oh, queen coming. Queen coming and what? Bishop to H3? I'm going to offer to trade queens here. Get those queens off the board. Okay, we'll recapture. Win a pawn. That's what I love. I love winning pawns. Took on E5. We got to retake our piece. Bishop there. Well, that fork is going to stay there even after I save my rook. A6. Yeah, we're going to capture that, but we're just up a piece here. Bishop or queen to, we'll just save our bishop. Queen to F3. Okay, we'll trade queens. Not that bad. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Bishop E7. Oh, why is that game not coming up? Queen to E2. Yeah, and we'll come around like this. Yep, and now we're going to win a piece here. Move the king, castle. BM, bishop B takes C6. We're going to back off, but keep stopping our friend from castling. Queen to C5. Yeah, makes sense, but do I have this here? Am I just getting a bishop pair there? Get rid of the bishop pair there and finish developing our pieces. Rook A8, sure, we'll bring a rook to the C file. Knight takes F3, put a rook on D8. Okay, well, our plan was to play G4, so we'll keep doing it. Trade queens while we can, why not? Bishop to E3. We're winning a pawn here, aren't we? King takes, develop our last piece. Bishop to E6 is smart. And develop our piece. Develop the knight, smart. We will develop our knight. Uh-oh. Discover there. Pawn to A6. So we are not going to trade our bishop for that knight. In fact, we're just gonna come back. Uh-oh, C3. Move our knight in. Bishop E7. Yeah, we gotta take that back. Rook to C6. All right, we're gonna make that rook go away. E5. See, now we're getting into some weird stuff. Move our knight somewhere out here. Maybe he'll end up trading the bishop for it. So we're just gonna calmly move it back. Then we'll take our piece later. Bishop to D3. This is the check, sir. We're trading queens there. Gotta trade queens while we can. H3. A to C1. Okay, that's actually good. Play our knight to, let's see. We'll play, let's just save our bishop. See what they're gonna do. Put a rook across from the king, that's for sure. C takes D6. Yeah, take the queen there. Okay. Yep. Save our knight. Pawn to a5. Let's get our king safe. Oh. Yeah, this is actually. You know what? Maybe we're gonna castle here after all. C takes d6, huh? Okay. Queen takes f3, and well, we're comfortable trading. King to e8. Yep, makes sense. Trade a little lift for our king. Castle's queenside. Get our knight into the game here. Cole now is coming after me. Decided he's going to try to kill me. Okay. So we're going to take that pawn. Castle, get a rook involved. Rook c8. Better keep developing our pieces. F to d1. Okay, now it's time to get a knight in. Castles. Okay, two can play that game. Queen to g4. What's happening in this game? I think we're up. We're just up nothing. Okay. We'll pin the knight. It's not pinned, so that was a strange thing to say. But bishop to e3. All right, well, we're going to move here because we're threatening the queen, so that's something that has to be dealt with. Checkmate. No. Uh-oh. Rook takes c3. Okay, can do that. Queen to h4. Okay, I get what you're doing. I get it. Now, don't we threaten the queen and just... Maybe I'm missing something. Rook to e8, smart. We'll defend our pawn. Knight to c5. Okay, where are you going from there? f6. All right, let's open up our rook a little bit. Knight to f6, which makes sense. Do I want him to come here? No. Queen h3, yeah, but then we have bishop g4 and the queen. Bishop g4. Coming on e5. Knight c3. Well, I think what I want to play is bishop g6. Okay, knight to f6. We're taking that. Rook to g8. We are moving our rook into an aggressive posture. Pawn to a5. Take that. Pawn to b6. We need to figure out what our plan is. Let's battle. Yeah, so that's pretty smart. And I think we're going to win a little bit of material there, but not too much. Not as much as we could have. But that was a good move by my opponent. Get out of there. Okay, pawn there. We will come back. Just kidding. Bishop takes there. I think we're going to just try to win a pawn. That's Rook to b4. Yes. Is this a fork? What am I missing there? b5. Is that a free pawn? Okay, I'm taking it. No time. a6. Taking it. a5. Taking it. Queen to g3. Smart. We're up some material here too. Bishop to e1. Okay, we're gonna try to stick our knight somewhere good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This man has decided he's planning to kill me. Did not see that coming. I can promise you that. Well, that's what happens. Good game, Cole. E6. I think we're just gonna. Should we just keep calmly taking these things? I think I'm gonna keep calmly taking these things. Bishop to e7. We're gonna double the rooks. Right there. We're gonna take that castle's queenside, which makes a lot of sense. Bishop. We'll just defend our pawn. Bishop e2. Clever. Knight to h6. I'll take there. Captures. Knight to d4. Makes sense. Yeah. To d8. Okay, we'll take it. a3. Okay, c5. Can't do without it anymore. JCW. C takes d6. Okay, we'll trade down a little bit. I think we're up some material there. Rook to d8. 7th rank. Rook to g8. Let's get that bishop out of there. Bishop takes. Let's see. I think I'm coming to capture that pawn. Uh-oh. I just see that my knight may be hanging there, but we'll see. Okay, we took that. h3. Yeah, I don't really want him coming to c6. D takes c5. Create a little lift for the king. What happened? g6. Okay, we're gonna trade down a little bit. Yeah, but now I get this, and that's why I'm not losing everything. Bishop to d7. Whoa. Okay. Rook to b8 makes sense, but let's see. Where's that knight going? All right, g4. J stir. Got to recapture there. And then, oops, that was a mouse slip, but that's okay. That happens. No takebacks. Rook takes e1 check. Okay, we'll recapture. Yeah, g4. Let's get our king to the center. That's where it belongs in the ending. And then we got a fork. And bishop to d3. Finally, we'll take a knight there. Jeez. f6, just save our piece. Castles. Okay, now we just got a whole rook too. There we go. h5. I'll just keep control. Queen to g5. I'm gonna make sure that queen doesn't come in. Queen to f5. Okay, we're taking that knight. Yep, take that. King to b8. Crash through. B takes a4, makes sense, and let's move our rook out here. H6, A3, FE1, challenge the open file, H takes G4, keep control, D takes C5, I'll take with the pawn. Okay, I'll take a pawn there. C4, I'll take a pawn there. F5, take a pawn there. Queen takes F6. It's actually looking a little dicey for me. Let's see if I can, I'll develop my queen at least. King to F1. Yeah. No, King G2. G7, King G7. Let's see. Oh, king belongs in the center. Rook takes. Knight C3. Okay, we all need our knights. Bishop F5. Yeah, sure. But I'll just come in here like this. King belongs in the center, in the ending. JJ Stir. Let's go. Check. Rook takes C4. Actually, I made a one there. But no matter. Knight in. H3. I think this is starting to get a little dicey on F7. More pawns down the board. Yeah. Now what about this? Where are we going after that? Yeah, H6. I have a feeling we're still getting checkmate there. Rook to G4, we're going to take it. Bishop to D2. All right, gotta go. In the center, H3. Get our knight in. Yeah. See, the problem now is that I think I can just trade down to a pawn ending and still win. So that's what I'm going to do. King belongs in the center. Pawn to C4. Let's get our bishop somewhere good. G4. Let's see. We got to be mating there somewhere. James Halliday, yeah. So this is just a winning pawn ending. In principle, it would be not so smart to just go into it just because, but we're running short on time here. Ah, yes, there's a whole rook for us. Should be mate next. This is a nice little tactic. Bishop to b4 makes sense, but now I'd really like to get that bishop pair gone out of there. King coming to the center, where it belongs in the ending, no doubt. But yeah, we'll play to see what happens in that game. Let's see. This should be mating soon. This and mate. Good game. Knight h5. Yeah, that makes sense. But we'll just go back. Knight there. Yeah. Let's b pawns. Free queen. Bishop a5. Yeah. Well, now we're gonna have to start throwing our pawns. Bishop to f4. Makes sense, but I think we're kind of gonna be okay there now. I get this. Let's check. King to a8 and mate on that one. I need to start winning some of these because king to f1 again. What is our friend doing here? Yeah, that c7 square is looking a little juicy. I'm gonna see what I can do about it. king and pawn ending. We should be okay there. Bishop to b6. This knight's got to go anyway. King to f6. All right, gotta get a pawn over there. JCW 60. Yeah, well, let's just get another queen. That's the easiest thing. King belongs in the center. Yeah, we'll take that. King belongs in the center. King to g6. Okay. h4, no problem. h5, I'll take that. g3, f6, I'll come back. Queen to g6. I see it, but what are we going to do about it? Okay. King to e2. I think we can give our opponent an isolated center pawn. We're going to try to do that. Keep going. All right. Probably that wasn't great. 6f7, okay. Turn. Bishop to g4. I don't need to allow that. King f7, pawn goes, pawn goes. Queen to c2 check. We'll just come back. H takes g3. We'll just queen. King e7, pawn goes, pawn goes. King g7. Now we're getting some stuff there. a4. Okay. h6. Let's get the queen off of that square. Queen coming, queen coming. G takes f2 check. We'll take it. Rook takes d4. Rook takes d4. Knight takes, pawn takes. Queen to d2. Yeah, why did I give that up? I'm not sure. Captures, captures. He takes d4. And now we are going to take on the king in a box. Get a queen. Get our knight to a good square. Rook a to d1. Get our center going. Check. To g6. Yeah, just reposition our pieces. Get our pawn in for queen. Get queen there. Queen takes g5, trading queens. And mate, good game, Hunter Bunter. And this is where we use our pawn majority on the other wing. Keep that f pawn where it belongs. This is probably the fastest way. Put our knight on d5. King to h6. Where does this bishop belong? Belongs on g6. And checkmate there. Thank goodness. Bring our king in. Bishop to b2. This is stressful. Bishop to b5. That's fine. Get our king in where it belongs. Let's see. We need to evaluate this. If takes. I don't think the pawn ending is clearly winning yet. Okay, we're winning a pawn there. C takes d5. C takes D5. Barrett, king to H7. We're going to trade queens. Takes, and takes on E6. King to G6. That's where our bishop belongs. A5. I'll just capture there. Check, and then we take the queen. Thank you. Yeah, so we want, what do we want? Well, we don't want to give up our rook for nothing, that's for sure. Knight to E1. That's knight is coming here. I'll bring our rooks to the center. Take on E6. Yep, get another pass pawn. E4. What am I missing here? 7, we take. Bishop retakes. This is actually an interesting ending. Now we're going to see if he lets us put it up one more square. G4. Okay. C7. Knight to D3. Now, what if we just keep coming forward then with these pawns? Our opponent's idea that can't do that. Pin the knight. A6. Pawn. G5. I'm up a lot of material here, so there must be some way to mate quickly. Right there. Now, I feel like this is winning. Now we come to that square, which is nice. D to E8, we're up a pawn, that's all we need. Don't really want to let our friend out this way. So let's... we don't have this kind of time, so... Okay, push that one. Queen E2. Yeah, that makes sense. If we can do something with that bishop. Bishop F5. Keep going. Keep going. Knight to H7. That hangs this one, right? Rook takes, rook takes. And we push the other one. C3. Yeah, we're gonna try to keep a grip on that. Bishop to D2. Yeah. We got a nice square there on. Okay, don't we get that here? I'm gonna trade that. A5. I'm gonna take it. King in. And pawn to H4. Wow. Person doesn't consider themselves to be my friend at all. Maybe we should play for tricks. Let's see how that goes. D3. Yeah. So the thing is, I can sit on this position for as long as I want. B takes. Well, let's get our pawns going. Okay, that's going to be a queen next. What happened? Queen to d2? Checkmate. Okay. 7. Let's get our king in. Rook there. Get our pawns going. And get a queen there. Ah. King to f6. Ah. Push our pawns on that side. I think our opponent here is letting us get a little too much. King to g2. Other rook over. Oh, better keep that closed. Kellen, king c7 is a good idea. Sort of. Wait, I'm winning another pawn, right? All right, let's just get another queen. Try not to stalemate if we can avoid it. Barrett. Okay, we're pinning that king. And knight to g5. Yeah, that makes sense, but I think I get more defense going on that pawn. Bring our king to a better square. Pawn there. Let's see, is this stalemate? Nope. So we'll do it. King to e7. Bring your king in. Let's get that knight out of there. Bishop to d3. Okay, we'll accept that. King up. We'll just save our knight. I mean, there's no reason to give away a whole knight. JT Schoenberger. Am I winning a piece? Can't offer a draw when I'm winning a piece. 5. What am I missing? Takes d3. See, if I take on e5 here, I think I'm doing okay. Knight to g7. Okay. Bishop to d3. Am I winning a queen here? Rook c5. No, not today. And checkmate. Good game. Whew. This is winning a queen, isn't it? Bishop to b4. Check. Sure. Rook to f5 again. I'm winning another pawn, aren't I? Well, the king's getting kind of active. Queen to e3, yeah. So I think then I have this still. And just move the other pawn. Barrett. Killing me, man. All right, I think it's this. Get that pawn. Rook a to c1. Just bring our other rook in. No, come back. Rook to e3. Well, I could if I really wanted. I'm going to go for this. I'm going to test my friend out here. King h7. We'll go. All right, we're going to take it. And I will just threaten mate. Rook f7, get our king in. King g8, get our pawn going. Get our king in. Get our bishop, stopping the king from approaching. Get our king in. I see. Yeah, I wondered about IC. He's a tough one. Let's just move that pawn. Check is correct. No, king back. Get another pawn for our troubles, and then try to do what we can. That's a check. King to f4. No. Rook to h8. Okay, we still have mate in one. f4. And our other pawn up. c5. That pawn's coming. Knight back. We'll give a check. I understand what you want, cartoon pianist. I know that you want a stalemate, but not today. So we're going to try to activate our queen on the other side. King to e4. Knight to e8. Is this checkmate? Finally. Oh. Okay. That makes sense. Let's see what we can do about this. Get our king in. Try to win that pawn. Yeah, well, I'm happy about that. Check. Yep. H3. Okay. Let's see if we can get our rook in the battle here. Rook to G3. Yep. Get our rook in the battle again. King to E3. Go, go, take, go. I've got to be faster here, don't I? Yeah. F4. Well, that can't be right. This is stressful. I haven't been under this much stress. There was that worldwide pandemic to worry about. Okay. I am winning another pawn now. I'm just not sure if it matters. Oops. Mouse slip. I hate mouse slip. I might not win this game anymore. Mounts, castles. Yes, this is exactly what our friend needs to start doing, activating the rooks. Yeah, do I get another pawn here? Yeah, those are all falling at this point. Why does it do this? It does this when it's not my move in any of the games, I guess. Hope so. Oh, there we go. Yes, now our friend is getting the rook coordinated. See if I can get my pawn going too. So F3, take that. Well, let's get our other rook in. Now this may be a draw, and if so, a mildly interesting one. I don't think so. I'm gonna go for it. Yeah, although I am getting another pawn in exchange. There we go. Okay, I see what's happening. But we are going to go into the seventh rank there. Queen, finally. Tried to blow this one several different ways. B3. Okay. We're trapping our rook. I think. Well, you might be right. I think I'm getting out. Right. And now we're winning there. Yep. And get the king back. and go win the other pawns. Yeah. Let's see if we can get those all going. King back a little more. Yeah, so let's go ahead and tickle. All right. Still have several legal moves there. A to C1. Well, we're certainly not going to just give up the file. So definitely feel like, okay, after this, the only legal moves must lead to checkmate soon. Okay, I see Ishun. Let's see. Can I tickle these rooks a little more? Rooks have to be coordinated in those types of positions. Make any progress. Yeah, and then that's checkmate there. So now we'll just see what's going on. So that's not my move. That's not my move. Well, in the end game, our king belongs in the center. So that is where we'll bring it. But now we're winning a rook. That's why the rooks need to be coordinated against a queen. You can always just show up somewhere and win a rook. That's the thing about queens. They're tricky that way. Mm-hmm. There's that rook. Maybe soon the other one. And as long as nothing crazy is happening, we're going to bring our king closer. We're going to try to get a queen over there. Yeah, I think these two are going to go our way. But we have to be vigilant here. So we are up 4 pawns. What is the best way to try to win this one? mean, we have a lot of extra pawns, so the best thing we can do is try to get them going. Our king, where does our king really belong? Does it really belong on 6? I don't really like it on c6. So maybe we should be getting this pawn forward. Okay, and that's a skewer. So that one is coming down soon. And so those rooks really need to be able to coordinate play against the queen. The stalemate, no. Okay, I have 5 minutes and 33 seconds here. Try to win that one. Hope we can do it with as little pain as possible. The first thing is to keep the king out. Yep, that makes sense. But then I thought we could give this little check. And this gets the rooks off the board if I really, really just want the rooks off the board. Or I can play an ending where I'm up 3 pawns with a bishop against the knight. Maybe that's what I really, really want to be doing. King doesn't get out this way either. Right. I'm going to trade the rooks. I just don't want to see those rooks anymore. We're up enough material that shouldn't matter too much. This knight, what I really want to do is dominate that knight. I can't. Well, I can, actually. The knight is currently dominated, where all I can do is, yeah, take that. And this is not stalemate. So we'll take it. King f3. I want to do this pawn because I really don't want that knight getting out. Right, and then I think we just have a check and mate next. So really, this other game is the last one. So we can actually talk a little bit more then about what's going on in this other game, which has been, well, at least it's an ending. I mean, an ending where you're up 3 pawns is still has to be won. So the real issue here is that the knight is sort of dominated. It can't get back in the game because all of these squares here are covered. This one as well. So really the only square it can move to is this one right here. And from there, I'm also covering this one and this one. So really the only thing the knight can do is move back and forth between these 2 squares, which essentially gives me an advantage of bishop on the rest of the board to kind of just help my pawns queen. And that shouldn't take an extremely long period of time for that to happen. But Eli is fighting vigorously. See, again, the bishop is cutting off the knight wherever it wants to come in. So, yeah, so overall, this has been fun. I mean, really stressful at different times. And I really, I mean, Cole found, a really nice move that I just didn't see at all. Tried to be a little greedy in position against Cole where I thought I was just winning a pawn. And, psychologically, that was an interesting mistake as well, because in those positions, usually you just calculate captures. That's at least that's what happened to me. I was like, okay, I take here, he takes here, and then, I'm up a pawn. But the problem is, your opponent is not your um, collaborator. Your opponent isn't there just to participate in your own ideas. And in this specific case, Cole had his own ideas to checkmate me instead of little dalliances where we win a pawn. So that's good on him for being understanding that chess is a game that ends with checkmate. Checkmate is the goal. So let's see. I think we can try to start pushing our other pawn now. That's what I'm thinking of doing. The knight's still cut off, and if you have pawns that are, so really we're looking at these two pawns. These two pawns are 2 files apart, and if I remember correctly, pawns 2 files apart win against the king no matter what. You kind of push this one, then when the king comes over to get that one, you push the other one, and so on. Yeah, well, it wasn't much better. It's coming down at least this way. It will happen a little more rapidly. So, endgame, you always need your king. Need your king in the ending. So, yeah, but there were actually several games that ended up being, pretty interesting, uh, interesting types of endings or tactics that showed up or anything else. I'll assume that was just a mistake. Yeah, so I think no matter what, our next moves are G7 and, sorry, G2 and then G1 checkmate. G1 queen checkmate, and that will do it for these games. So just add a quick note. And then maybe we'll take a look at some of these more interesting ones, starting with the one where I got killed. Analyze those briefly. And then call it good. So let's see, where is this one with Cole? Cole, here first. So, Cole. So D4, D5, C4, C6. And I play this exchange variation of the Slav, which if you look in the opening book, it, he takes D5. You look at these percentages and you think, wow, that's a lot of draws. But okay, when you're playing between grandmasters, maybe they have this memorized or whatever to the draw. But I think I started playing it because Farushin Akopian on the St. Louis Chess Club is always promoting, promoting this variation of the exchange Slav, and always has a little something more than black. And the position can be symmetrical, but if you think you're the stronger player, especially, then you should have room to outplay your opponent in most opening positions you can end up with. And so a6 is one line in this move. Rook to c1. Yeah, so a6 you see is not terribly common with the bishop out here, but that's okay. a6 is a perfectly excellent move. Looks like bishop to d3, and then wow, the draw percentage goes up to 90%. So that must be what you play when you've arranged a draw. But rook to c1 is basically just trying to prevent this move b5, because if b5 comes, then the knight is loose back here, so having the rook lined up against the knight can be a useful thing. So then e6, yeah, so queen to b3, that makes sense, so that in these lines where the bishop comes outside the pawn chain, one thing you can think of is getting the bishop, so that it's not trapped back here behind the pawn. One of the drawbacks of that is that the bishop is trapped out here on this side of the pawns, this direction, doing my arrows as well as I can. So, this move queen to b3 is actually a fairly common move in this variation. Once the bishop gets developed, it's putting a little bit of pressure on b2. And the fact that rook to a7 is the most common move basically means that, okay, white might actually have a little pressure here. So yeah, that was a miss for sure. What did I play? Bishop to e2, kind of a weak little move down here. It looks like it gets played sometimes, but nothing very special. And queen to d3 is by far the most popular. Bishop to d6, and again here, according to the database, I played creatively. This move that isn't played very well. It's kind of weird. Bishop to d3. I can kind of see why it doesn't make sense. Even during the game, I noticed it, but things are moving fast, and you just do what you have to do. So, the thing is, the idea behind this move is that after bishop takes, h takes, the rook is open and developed for you for free. But at the same time here, this bishop is already out here, and I didn't challenge it with the bishop on d3. So really, I'm not putting any special pressure on h7 or anything. So probably best to just trade the bishops on d6, or maybe again, that's one of these. Well, it doesn't look like it's a draw agreement line. It's like in the 12 games, 3 wins for white, 3 wins for black, and so on. So bishop takes g3, h3, h6, and now we are effectively out of book. So knight e5, knight takes. And the reason I played this knight to e5 is to start getting something with this g4, g5, and so on. If I needed to move my king to safety, I can just move it to f1 and g1, but I wanted, I was hoping to use this rook development on the h-file for what it's worth. And knight to e4, and g4 was reasonable. Knight takes c3. I really don't mind my position here. I decided to castle, which I thought was right, but then here this was a really an instructive moment. Cole found some nice tactics here to make this all work. So first of all, queen to h4. Of course, if I take this bishop, I'm just getting mated, so we're not going to do that. But things are moving quickly. I thought g3, queen h3, and bishop g4. That looks a lot like a trapped queen, right? And it is, except that then black gets this cross pin. So white's not really winning a lot of material here. But yeah, looking at this position now, what I played, of course, bishop takes e6, and Cole found this really good resource, bishop to f3, and after that, it's just, mate in one. I can't even, well, mate in two. I can delay it if I Well, that's good. But the fact is that, I mean, this is also just very unnecessary. We have to take here, he just takes here. I mean, we're getting a rook to the 7th. A white should definitely be better in this position. So, just got a little greedy. And, that's just normal what happens in chess. It's that uh, you have to be on the lookout for your opponent's mistakes. And sometimes, especially when they, in this moment, like, psychologically, I think what happened is when I first looked at this move, bishop to g4, I thought, I'm trapping the queen. And then it flipped around to other games, and I noticed that in my mind, black has bishop takes h5 here, but that I can do some kind of desperado stuff to still win a pawn. And then when I got back to this position, I just didn't think twice. But you always have to be careful and think about your opponent's ideas. And I think that happened a couple of times here that I just didn't think about my opponent's ideas. And when you don't think about your opponent's ideas, they kill you. So good game, Cole. I mean, that was a good lesson there. This was the first game that ended, I think. So, uh, yeah, it's a shame to see the first one go down, and then you start to think, oh my goodness, what have I gotten myself into here? So we looked at Cole. While we're at it, let's take a look at Ben, because that game, or BM Barrett, that game was also an exchange Slav, but went a little bit better for me. Right. So yeah, what happened here? So again, I thought against these players, Cole and Ben, I know these guys are tough, and they're some of the toughest guys in our region. So I played my regular stuff, and regularly I play d4, and this Slav I played the exchange, and Ben went into this line with knight to f6, queen to b3, and it's not really clear how to defend this pawn. That this is the one of the things that I like about this line is there's a lot of ways to make normal moves that are not right. So, for example, obviously the queen can't defend from. Oops, nope. Obviously the queen can't defend from c7. Can go to c8, and you see that's been played a few times. b6 is a move, but then oops, let's turn the computer off. The computer to be on here. But you can see that white is doing okay after queen takes b6, pawn takes b6. This is these are some double pawns, and it did develop the rook. Without the queens on the board, I'm sort of comfortable with my ability to use my control of the diagonal and the b5 square, either with a bishop or a knight later on, and just slowly put pressure on these pawns. So, for example, we could put some immediate pressure if we really, really, really wanted with bishop to c7. Nobody's played that, so there's probably some kind of tactical flaw. Like it doesn't really work at all. Yeah, let's check it out. Bishop to b4, give up the pawn, and get some strong threats against using the rook development. You're going to play bishop to b4, you're going to play knight to e4, and I'm going to be sorry that I went on a little so quickly. The main thing probably with this top move, bishop to b5, is to keep developing and so on. So queen to b6 is one thing you can try, but you can see that, Ben here found the top move, bishop to b4, and the idea behind this move is that after bishop to b5, black always has this, now the queen used to be attacking on d7, like this, using my circles and my arrows. But now we actually have two pieces in between ourselves and b7. And plus, black is just ready to castle. One move from castling is doing all right. So yeah, but really black has to deal with this threat, and it's easy to miss that the threat isn't, captures and captures the bishop. The threat is really this knight has an absolute pin, and so we're threatening to take this bishop right away. So for example, if he does castle, that's okay, because when we take here, it's not check because the king is gone, and then black has this intermediate move, and they play with the 8, as you can see, to maintain a semblance of pawn structure for a minute. Eventually, I have to recapture his piece, but there's no hurry. So that's the idea behind this move, bishop to b4, but or bishop, yeah. When white plays bishop to b4, we respond bishop to b5. But rook to b8 just kind of ignored the threat against the bishop directly. Then on a6, of course, we need to be careful not to back up. Presumably at this point we're giving our piece back. Yeah, here. This breaks the pin, and so, well, I guess we always have something like queen c5. Yeah, this is probably working, but there's no reason to get involved in that. We just won some material, so we trade down. And, to compound it all, we also have the queen here stopping black from castling, and the dark squares are no good. So the opening has gone somewhat pear-shaped for our friend, and then we get this fork. And as I recall, this game just ended by winning a bunch more material and checkmate. Black would somewhat like to play this move and get a fork of their own, but check here, we save everything. So after this, there was just so much material. This is already a piece and a rook, and I was okay. So these are, two different versions of playing the exchange Slav, and I kind of like this for white. I like these positions that are strategically interesting, where we have just a little bit of pull in those positions. So what else? What else? Yeah. So again, this game went a little bit interesting. So again, this is one of our stronger players, so I prefer to play, my usual stuff, especially when I've got 14 games going on. And this bishop to b4 check is, I don't think this is technically a Bogo Indian. I think that's something else, but still, it's the same principle. And for my purposes, I was happy to just get the bishop pair and then see what happened later on. So we have the bishop pair, and I recapture here with the queen to try to. But e6 is probably a little bit too weakening. Yeah. For example, if black just castle. I'm not threatening. White isn't threatening anything. We get our king out of there, and then we start doing this stuff. But once we play b6, white is developing with threats. So just if I'm going to look at the book for a minute, where did we leave? It looks like knight b to d2 is not common, and knight to c6 is a little bit uncommon. a3 makes sense. Okay, and the only other game in the database here, white played bishop takes d2. Might be marginally better, but at least when I played queen takes d2, I had a reason and a plan, so I was happy with it under the circumstances. But yeah, this move b6, I have a feeling if we just quickly shift on the computer evaluation that, well, the computer doesn't mind it. Computer doesn't mind the move. So my opponent is playing like Stockfish 10 plus WASM, depth 17, the cloud version. b6. But practically, you really need to understand what you're going to do about the fact that this knight just got loosened up. So it must be here that black really needs to accept that things have gone a little bit badly and play, or accept that this pin is going to start to get dangerous and play bishop to d7, breaking the pin immediately. And indeed, that's the one that has an evaluation still around 0.7, but after bishop b7, we see it jumps way up. So it's really bishop b7 that makes it so this piece you can no longer save it. Yeah. But the reason as white I would be happy, about this move bishop d7 is why did black play b6? Black played b6 to put the bishop on b7. So the fact that he now has to put it on d7 means that maybe, logically there's a little bit of logical inconsistency in black's position. So there's a move somewhere that was wasted, and we got something. We got something we weren't supposed to get. So that's sort of why I was happy with it. But now this pin just gets to be too much. We've got another threat, and then there really is no other choice to defend the knight. There's no other piece that can come defend it. If queen goes to d7 instead, we still go knight to e5. Knight is now pinned to the queen instead. So, yeah. And then on d6, the knight is just still absolute pinned to the king, and there's no other way to come defend it, so we're just losing a piece there. But really, I think this is the main instructive moment. Black had an idea what they wanted to do, put the bishop on b7. But there's no way you can get out of this position without castling. There's just, white has every opportunity to open up the center, and we're both going to end up castling on the king side. It's just going to happen. But are you necessarily going to want to put your bishop on b7? So I think that's the real question: is making sure that the move you're making is sufficiently flexible. If there's a move you absolutely know that you can't do without, and your opponent knows you can't do without it, then there's just no point in holding off on it, especially in favor of this slightly weakening move that allows me a little bit of an initiative, a little bit of a pull. Now I can develop with threats, and now then black doesn't really get a chance to castle. Unless they had one last chance to play bishop d7 here, which I also would have been fine with. So that was this game with Cartoon Pianist, and then after we won a piece, I'm sure it was just a matter of limiting the counterplay. If you still want to pay attention to your opponent's ideas, now he wants to put a knight on e4. We could probably allow it, but why bother? We want to make sure we're not giving up the C file. It's the only open file on the board, so we're not going to let our opponent have that. And then we found a way to keep control, make progress with this plan of b4, b5, and then rook to b7, threatening to take the pawn on b6. The problem being, we could try something like this right away. But then, okay, actually isn't that bad either. We're just still taking the pawn. But in the heat of battle, I guess I just overlooked that and would rather play b4 and b5 first, which didn't spoil anything, just kept it maybe a little more under control, more so than I needed to maybe, but I'll never apologize for that. Let's see, there was at least one other, yes, this one. There were actually a lot of really interesting positions that came up. So this one I'm going to scroll through. If I had been paying attention on the first move, I might have given my friend IC Ishan a different opening move and just played something that I normally play. Because I don't like seeing these 4 knights, especially against these strong guys. So we have this 4 knights position, which is just you know, all we can really do is do this stuff with the bishop on e6, and he takes it. And now, the key feature of the position is the open F file and seeing, or the semi-open F file and seeing what we can do with that. And for white, yeah, I don't really see any active plans. I assume we're out of the database at this point. I wonder when it happened. Bishop. Okay, so I invited this fried liver, and instead of taking it, our opponent played knight c3. Which is, you see, not popular. A lot of times in these e4, e5, situations, usually, a lot of times white wants to play c3 and d4, and then delay the development of the knight until, maybe black will just capture on d4, take back the c pawn, and then put the knight on c3. Or maybe the knight really needs to go on some other outing, like to d2. After castling and rook e1, the knight goes to f1, and then either, something like this, and then either to e3 or e3. So this is one of the reasons probably that the knight on c3 is not as popular. So knight on c3. Well, it looks like black is supposed to play knight takes e4 here. Well, I wouldn't play that in a Simul not knowing it. That's not knowing what to do, that's for sure. Yeah, why can't we play this? Yeah, black has won 100% of the games, but this was played between, some white players above 2,700 have been playing it. I don't like the look of this if I don't know what I'm doing. So, not being an e4, e5 player, I don't blame myself too much for not finding the top move, knight takes e4 in Simul. So bishop c5, you can see the percentages here are a little meeker, but it's playable. d3, h6 is one of those moves we always play in scholastic chess once we might get a pin on g5. That rook to e1 is the one that really cut us out of a lot of games. King to h8. Okay. Well, maybe next time I'll play king to h8, but I'm not super convinced by it. So here really, again, we need to be trying to use the file. Plus we have our bishop pressure on f7, especially since that rook has gone to e1. We have a little bit of x-ray stuff down there that we might use. But first, I thought this move a6 was important so that if ever we had a knight go to a4, here we can always tuck the bishop on a7 and keep our pressure here on f2. That's the idea behind this move, a3. Now here I played queen to e8. Looking at the position now, what I was concerned about was knight to h5. The knight is kind of loose out here, so maybe white gets something here. But looking at it now, of course, I have this bishop takes f2 check. So I shouldn't have been worried about this really at all, in which case the move queen to e8 is a waste of time, and I should just play knight to h5 right away. Try to sink that knight in on f5. Yeah. So queen to e8, a little bit of a waste of time, but as long as we used it later, that's not such a big problem. Yeah. So here I just did a bit of a mouse flip. I think I was moving on a different game or auto moving in a different game, but then when I came back to this game, it moved the piece to d4. I don't know, what I would have been explicitly planning to play here, but of course, knight takes h3 suggests itself um, because you know, have something like take, and we want a pawn, and the king is looking a little dicey, and we have this nice looking square to jump to on d4, where we could easily except for making a little bit of a mouse flip. That's probably what I would have gone for. The move knight to d4 also looks attractive. I don't have the computer on, so any of these moves could easily be horrible blunders. I guess the other thing we could really try is just knight takes g2, and then king takes g2, queen to g6, check. But then maybe he has this weird move, knight to g5, and then after that he takes here. Well, still looks decent for black, but white was able to block up the g file, which wish that he had not been able to block up the g file. So anyway, mouse flips happen. Nothing to be done. No takebacks. Knight takes d4. I guess here I played knight takes d4, but I should have played probably e takes d4. Because again, the knight moves. I'll say we move here. Again, we have this check. Just moves this king. And starting to get a little bit complicated. I don't really want to lose this pawn, but I may not have a choice anymore. Something like this, maybe. And just as an example that I'd be hoping for in such a case, check, mate, say. But I'm sure white has something better than just walking into my plan of delivering checkmate. Still, so knight takes d4, knight takes d4, pawn takes d4, maybe better. Okay, knight, knight takes, pawn takes, we still have to move. And I thought trading made sense in this position because I'm going to be able to triple up on the f file. You know, and then for starters, I have the f4 square to bring a rook, maybe bring it over somewhere and start doing some harassing. I can bring my queen to h5, I can bring the other rook to f8, and it's probably, if you turn on the computer, I would guess it's like plus or like minus something less than 1, but black at least has some active plans. Yeah, really not very much, according to our very low depth online friend. But I like that black has active plans, and white, meanwhile, the queen, yeah, could come to like b4, maybe b5. I can try to harass my queenside pawns, but if I can bring my queen and both rooks quickly to the king side, then the queen will rapidly wish it had been still near the king. So yeah, black has practical chances for sure in this position. So this is why we cycle through this stuff. Yeah, and this is the other thing you kind of need to see here, that we come to f4 and they can always kick us away with g6, but then from f, from g3, but then we move to f3, and then we can maintain our rook there because it's hard to challenge. Then when he did challenge it, this is where we ended up in a really interesting ending. So I spent a lot of time talking about different stuff. But queen against two rooks. Just if you think about the material count here, the raw material count, I have a queen and two pawns for the two rooks. So that's 9 plus 2 is like 11, and 5 plus 5 is 10. So I'm up 1 point of material. That's one way to think about it. The other way to think about it is that maybe, if the rooks can get coordinated, this 1 point isn't really going to matter because the rooks can coordinate together to attack my pawns. Just imagine, for example, if we're able to move the king here and the rooks here, so that the rooks have the open F file together, and the king is able to come safely, and you can get a rook to F7 and can quickly start creating a bunch of havoc back here. So with the queen against two rooks, the general rule is that the two rooks are going to be stronger if they can get coordinated in their attack, and if they can, then they're going to be better than the queen. So our job with having the queen is to make sure we're creating enough threats elsewhere that the rooks don't end up getting coordinated. I'm not sure in an attack. I'm not sure we successfully did that in this game. Of course, our opponent is always helping us, which is fine. But this is the key. One key is that we need to create a pass pawn, and ideally not just one, but connected pass pawns. Because one pawn, the rooks can always just team up, capture it, done. And then you're kind of gonna be in trouble. But here I thought we were getting at least an A pawn going. Let's see, here probably trying to defend this A pawn is not the right idea. First of all, because he can't. But secondly, because you need to understand that in these positions, white needs to get the rooks coordinated in an attack, either against the king or get down to the 7th rank and be active. Rooks need to be active, active, active. They're very clumsy defenders, and when you have two of them against the queen, they have to be coordinated. So moving to a position where getting your rooks coordinated together in attacking formation is not the goal, not the outcome of the plan. It's probably not the right plan, beyond the fact that it simply doesn't work to defend the pawn. So, and at this point, this is what coordination looks like. This is what rooks coordinated should look like. I wonder if it's too late because black has this outside pass pawn that's going to be able to sow discord, and the rooks aren't really in a position to be able to quickly go ahead and capture it or stop it before black can get this one and then have connected pass pawns. It's those connected pass pawns that are really going to be the problem. Yeah, so this is a clever choice to sacrifice the C pawn for the A pawn, but then we have the two connected pass pawns that we like. And the rooks, as you can see, are not in an aggressive stance. They're coordinated, but not in an aggressive stance. They're just kind of defending each other on the same rank. And they're going to have to abandon that position and get uncoordinated once these pawns start going. So now I'm pretty sure black should just be winning. And so the pawn's moving, but maybe this move is a mistake. Can I just play this? This doesn't look very good for me. So yeah, we're going to see that move c4 is a horrible mistake. Okay, well, not too bad. And not to cheat, I mean, I'm cheating a little with the computer, but it's been a long day and I do have to go here soon. But after rook b to b5. Okay, computer suggested the need to play b6, and then everything is okay, more or less. We can keep pushing our pawn. But yeah, this queen against two rooks. You need to keep this in mind that if the rooks. Oh, here I already missed that I could win a rook. Okay, I missed it once, but I didn't miss it a second time. Good for me. Queen against two rooks. If you have the two rooks, you need to get them coordinated in an aggressive stance as soon as possible, creating serious threats. Otherwise, the queen will be okay at least. And if we have other extra material, like extra pawns and so on, then the queen will probably win with an extra pawn or two, especially if they're connected pass pawns. And if you have the queen, you need to do whatever you can to prevent this kind of coordination. So, hence why this move leads to, after rook to b5, a situation where I don't see, yeah, this must be like the only move. So I somehow put myself in a position where I might need to find only moves. So I appreciate IC Ishan not making me find them. That's appreciated. And here it looks like we spaced queen f6, but we didn't. We did end up finding it a little later. So there are definitely some more games in here that had interesting moments, but we can't sit around looking at them all day, can we? Let's see. Okay, well this is one that ended up in ending, and I'll mention it because I saw my opponent out here in the chat box asking how to offer a draw. I don't know. It was equal-ish, but I don't think it was ever really. Had I known who this was, I would have also played my normal stuff. Then we ended up in something we transposed to anyway. Now we'll just kind of scroll through to the ending here because we traded some pieces. And sometimes when you trade pieces, you start to think, oh, the position is even. Right? I mean, queens are gone. This is something that I see young scholastic players doing a lot, and even older players. Chess is about attack, attack, attack. And once the queens are gone, especially if the material is even, I mean, there's no reason to play on. It must be a draw. But okay, it's your job, especially in this case as the higher rated player, where you need to try to win. I mean, it's important to try to find opportunities to put pressure and create space to win. So presumably this is all fine. In this position, if we just take a look at it, it's obvious that black's bishop is better than white's bishop. Beyond which, the only bishops left on the board are dark square bishops, and all of black's pawns are in light squares. So we're going to try to maintain that situation. Is that our bishop, first of all, bishop can't attack our pawns unless the pawns keep control of the light squares. Later on this one, well, the bishop controls the dark squares, so we're trying to control all the squares on the board with our bishop and our pawns. And our opponent, meanwhile, has a lot of pawns sitting here on dark squares, which can create some holes, a few weaknesses. This knight, for example, has limited flexibility because it's needed to defend this weakness here on b3. And if it ever leaves, then you always need to think about what might happen here on b3. Same with a4. If this leaves, then maybe the knight will come to a4, start putting support. So the fact that our bishop is better gives us something to play for. So we keep taking control of some more light squares. And yeah, it's not clear that knight to e4 is really the best move here. Maybe there's some other move we can play to um, help improve our position. But I thought it was high time to maybe invite some trades and get a little something else to start playing for. So you put a little pressure, you make your opponent make some decisions here and there, and then find an opening. So again, this probably isn't totally winning, but now we have a situation that is, we like to call good knight versus bad bishop. White's other choice, of course, is to capture with the rook. We still trade that off, and we'd have a knight, beautiful knight, sitting on the light squares, attacking the dark squares, and our opponent will have a lonely bishop being blocked by its same color pawns, and we're gonna see. We'll just see how the game develops, and we'll always have some chances to try to do something, especially with the isolated queen pawn is not going to be a huge issue because usually the thing you need to do with an isolated queen pawn, they say, is trade off all the minor pieces, keep your major pieces, and then pile up on it, pile up on the pawn from with your major pieces, your rooks and your queen, and then eventually be able to win it. But just one rook isn't going to do it. So it's we can't really play it like some kind of typical isolated queen pawn position anymore. The other thing we could try to do is especially after g3, which is not the right idea. That's putting another pawn on a dark square. Is okay. I wondered about this pawn ending. There's almost no chance that this is winning because see if on a low depth the computer agrees. I mean, yeah, it's low depth, so who knows? But I don't. I'm not a. Yeah, I'm just a lowly guy sitting around playing a little chess. I don't have the wherewithal to find a plan for black where they might be winning here. So we'll just keep our knight, keep our good knight against bad bishop, and see what happens. So here, this is a little bit of a positional. It's not really a risk because what we did is we put a pawn on a dark square. So if our opponent was being a little bit wary of such things, then maybe they would play their pawn to a4. Then maybe we just capture it. But then maybe they're getting their king in. But then maybe we're keeping it out. But then maybe they're like kind of attacking our pawn. So this might have been an opportunity to complicate things a little bit. And pushing here could probably be better. And then if they threaten to come in, we still come back, and now we're getting a little pressure there, and maybe we force b3. But putting more pawns on dark squares, just when there's a lot of games going on and anything could happen, is not the sort of thing I was hoping to do. I was hoping to keep my pawns on light squares, but gain a little space, put a little pressure, and see what happens. So again, same idea here. Maybe our opponent should consider, once I put a pawn in a dark square, fixing it there. And I'm sure this is good enough for a draw. But okay, then we get a little more space. So this, I think this game is probably a story of the opponent not appreciating the danger in time And this position, black is always going to have, I think the winning chances, if anyone is able to try to push for a win, is this good knight versus bad bishop. Bishop can never, can never come attack my pawns, and so really we just have to keep the king out and we can never lose. So then the only question is whether we can ever try to win. And on the first opportunity, I passed up this exchange down into a king and pawn ending, but on the second one, yeah. And so I wonder if on low depth our computer agrees. No, our computer thinks that right now white can get involved can stop up the king side right away with this move f4. G takes. Yeah, and now, I always need to be worried about things like g4. And I need to be aware that if this pawn wasn't here, this is kind of the point of this move f5, that white might play g4 and then have an outside pass pawn, and I'd actually end up losing, which I'd rather not do. King to d3, and then how do we make progress here, I guess is the point. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, so, so instructive. It's kind of counterintuitive. F4, at least to me. My intuition isn't sufficiently advanced to think of that as an intuitive move. But so instead we played f6, and I'm wondering where, I guess, so again, this move f4 forces my pawn to a decision right away. Oh, okay, so we didn't like here. This was the last opportunity maybe to play f3 or f4. Is f? I guess f4 can't be. Oh, okay. I see, but f3 is different because then, okay, we can't let them have this. So yeah, after this, I'm not gonna let the computer run and tell me all the things we did wrong. I'm sure there are plenty of them, but the main problem for us is that if white plays g4, then we need to be prepared to go catch that pawn. Or we need to be prepared to push ours through faster. But here I'm comfortable that if white plays g4, we just queen our pawn then, and we queen it well before them. So if he plays g4 here, again, the same thing. We're coming down and then here, so it's all fine. So I thought we had g4 under control. Maybe, though, the easiest way to win this would have been king e4. And if we gave away the win somewhere else along the line, then I have a feeling this is the problem. King e4, king e2. I think maybe it's all the same. This will be fun. Yeah. Just as a quick check with our friend, I guess the move I played, the computer didn't hate. Oh, keeps starting to hate these things very quickly, but then calculates that somehow I managed to not be losing yet. And then, yeah. So this is a fairly typical drawn scenario if there are no other pawns on the board. Because, all white needs to do to get a draw is, if we just imagine these pawns being off the board, then with black to move here, we just keep black trapped. Then if black ever comes up, then we run for the square, and black can't ever win with this wing pawn. And if we move the pawn, then we just come down and keep the black king from coming out, because again, if you come out here, we just run the square. And if there are no other pawns, then we just shuffle back and forth like this until it's stalemate. And actually, in this position, it's a draw anyway because of stalemate. Whether we take or we push, it's stalemate. So the other version, instead of coming out and letting white get in, is for black to keep coming to h2 and so on. But then keep them in. Again, black comes out, white goes in. And then this is actually stalemate the other way, right? Because push, stalemate. Right? So this is the situation if we have this wing pawn like this and no other pawns. The problem is that when we have other pawns, we just give up our wing pawn and just go ahead and we go capture the other pawns that are on the board. And then we just win with what we have. But still, an interesting situation for sure, where we had this good knight against bad bishop, and it wasn't anything very serious, but we had everything to play for still, and I don't think we gave it away too badly. So with all that in mind, I think we're just going to call it good on this. There were a few more games for sure, but can't sit here looking at them all day. So this was really fun. Maybe we can try to do this again sometime. Thanks, Inland Chess people, for showing up and for playing. And at least I have some revenge to take at some point against Cole. And I'll be looking to take it my first opportunity. So thanks, everyone, and we will see you later.